All right, so you've done it. You've got the Mac Studio. You have an absolute powerhouse of a computer, a real beast for any creative or professional work. But, that's really only half the battle, right? To truly complete a setup this good, you need the perfect display. So, let's go find it. So yeah, you've got this world-class computer, but what monitor can actually keep up with it? This kicks off our search for what we're going to call the Vanguard monitor, a display that doesn't just work with your Mac, but makes it even better. And believe me, it's a tougher challenge than you might think. Okay, so this is it, the Vanguard Monitor Quest. I mean, the market is just flooded with these incredible-looking displays. But here's the thing, the Mac ecosystem, it's got its own set of rules, very specific needs. So that's what we're doing. We're taking the top contenders and putting them through a series of tough hurdles to find the one true champion. All right, let's meet the contenders. We've got some real heavy hitters here from Asus, MSI, Dell's Alienware and ultra-sharp lines, and of course, Samsung. And look, on paper, they all look amazing. But as you're about to see, when it comes to playing nice with macOS, the devil is always in the details. Okay, hurdle number one. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all, Retina-like sharpness. If you're a Mac user, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That super crisp, clean text, it's non-negotiable. It's just part of the core Mac experience, and any monitor that can't deliver that, well, it's out of the running immediately. So how does that work? Well, it all comes down to a thing called HiDPI. That's kind of the secret sauce macOS uses to create that beautiful, sharp text. And the number you need to care about, the key metric, is pixel density, or PPI. The higher the PPI, the sharper everything looks. And what is that target? Well, it turns out there's a magic number, 140 PPI. This is pretty much considered the sweet spot. It's the perfect density for macOS to render text and UI elements that look and feel just like they would on a native Apple display. Okay, so with that magic number in mind, how do our contenders stack up? Right away, a really clear dividing line shows up. The Asus, the MSI, the Alienware, and the Samsung, they all nail it. They're right around that 140 PPI sweet spot. But the Dell UltraSharp, it's down around 110 PPI. That's more of a standard density. And for anyone used to that Retina quality, trust me, that's a very noticeable step down in sharpness. And yeah, for that reason alone, the Dell UltraSharp is our first elimination. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a great monitor for a lot of things, but it just fails the most basic, fundamental test for a high-end Mac setup. It can't give you that true high DPI experience. So it's out. All right, next on the chopping block, the Samsung Odyssey G8. This one's out too, and it's not just one thing here. It fails for a few reasons. From what we've seen, it's got some pretty bad macOS compatibility issues, text can get blurry, and honestly, that bloated smart TV interface just gets in the way of a professional workflow. It's just too much hassle. Okay, moving on to hurdle number 2, professional connectivity. The whole modern Mac workflow is built around this idea of a single cable. It's all about simplicity, elegance, and getting power and video through one single port. Anything that messes with that, it's a problem. And that brings us to what I like to call the Mac workflow killer. What is it? It's the lack of a video-capable USB-C port. I mean, come on. Forcing you to mess around with adapters and dongles in this day and age, in the Mac world, that's like a cardinal sin. It is a total deal breaker. Simple as that. And sadly, this is where we have to say goodbye to the Dell Alienware. It's got a gorgeous QD-OLED panel, no doubt about it, but it doesn't have a USB-C port for video. And that one little omission makes it a total non-starter for that clean single-cable Mac Studio setup we're all looking for. So, another one bites the dust. And just like that, we started with 5, and now we're down to 2. The contenders left standing, the Asus ROG Swift and the MSI MPG. Both of them cleared our first 2 hurdles, sharpness and connectivity. So now, it's time for the final showdown. All right, this is where things get really interesting. We're getting into the nitty-gritty details that separate the best from the really, really good. Now, here's the thing. Both of these monitors are built around the exact same spectacular 3rd-gen QD-OLED panel. So the picture itself, it's going to be almost identical. The real difference is in the little extra features that actually matter a ton for professional work. And trust me, this is where the small details have a huge impact. Let's break it down. There are 3 key differences. First, the Asus has a way faster USB hub. We're talking USB 3.2 speeds, which is huge if you're plugging in fast drives or other pro gear. Second, it supports Dolby Vision, which is a nice plus for HDR. And third, it has a feature called uniform brightness. And stick with me here because this is the most important one of all. So let's really zero in on that decisive feature. I mean, look, a faster hub is great, Dolby Vision is cool, but there is one thing that Asus has that is an absolute, undeniable game changer if you're doing any kind of productivity or creative work on an OLED. It's called Uniform Brightness Mode. Okay, so here's the deal with OLEDs. They have this built-in protection thing called an auto brightness limiter, or ABL. And what it does is, it automatically dims the whole screen whenever you open up a big bright window, like a white document or a big Photoshop canvas. And that constant dimming, it is so distracting. Well, uniform brightness mode, it just gets rid of that, keeping the screen's brightness perfectly consistent. And hey, you don't just have to take my word for it. Our research pretty much calls this a critical and game-changing feature. If you're someone who spends hours staring at code or working in design apps, that stability, it creates a viewing experience that other OLEDs just can't touch. Honestly, it's the difference between a great monitor for watching movies and a true professional tool for getting work done. And so, that brings us to the final verdict. The winner, the ultimate vanguard monitor for the Mac Studio, is the Asus ROG Swift PG32U CDM. It just checks every single box, it passes every test, and most importantly, it has that critical uniform brightness feature, which makes it the best, most uncompromising choice. Now, that said, let's be clear. The MSI MPG is a fantastic monitor. It's our clear value champion. You're getting like 90% of the performance for a much lower price. You know, at the end of the day, picking the right monitor isn't really about the specs on a sheet. It's about getting rid of all the little annoyances, the friction, so you can just focus on creating. So we've found the perfect view to match the awesome power of the Mac Studio. Now the only question left is, what are you going to create with it?